All right, thank you to everyone who is joining us. So glad to have you with us. I know more folks are tuning in as we kick things off. So while everyone's getting logged in, I just have a couple of announcements. We've been troubleshooting a tech issue on one of our speakers' laptops, and so I think we're going to do some laptop sharing for today's presentation. So thank you all for your patience as we do some laptop sharing. You'll notice that this session allows you to have your cameras and mics on. We ask that you take the lead from the presenters on when to turn on or off cameras. And we'd also like to ask that if you have any questions today, put them in the Q&A area to the right of your viewing window. And it looks like we're ready to get started. So Bree, I'm going to pass it off to you.
Thanks so much, Sam. Hi, everyone. My name is Bree, and our session today is called A Voice at the Table, and we're going to be talking about client advisory councils and just those housekeeping tips that Sam pointed out. We will be taking a break about mid-session to answer some questions, so if y'all could just keep your computers on mute until then, that would be great. And then at the end of our session, we're going to be going to breakout rooms, and you're free to unmute at that time and really get on board with the discussions. So our presentation today, like I said, is A Voice at the Table, Client Advisory Councils. And this is a toolkit for employing the expertise of individuals with lived experience to better serve our communities. We have three main objectives today. The first is to demonstrate how organizations that incorporate community members with lived experience are better equipped to make their services more focused, more efficient, more integrated, culturally appropriate, and sustainable. Our second objective for today is to describe how our toolkit can provide information on how to create inclusive organizational environment and improve hunger relief strategies by involving individuals who have lived experience with food insecurity. This information can then be used in planning, strategy implementation, practice reviews, policy development, and leadership. And lastly, we hope by attending this session today that you all will be able to design and implement an action plan using the resources in our toolkit to launch your own client advisory council. And we are aware that many of your organizations may not use the word client at this time. You may prefer to use something like guest or participant. But during our consultation with our advisory council members, we asked them to choose a name to best represent themselves. And they chose the word client. So please know that every client that walks in our door is treated like a guest. But for our organization, we decided to go with Client Advisory Council. Beyond Hunger is located on the west side of Chicago, and our mission is to harness the power of communities to end hunger. And we really do that through three main ways. The first is to provide emergency food relief at our food pantry distributions. The second way is to provide meals for children who are on summer vacation through our Summer Meals program. And third is through our home delivery of groceries to homebound adults and seniors. Now I'm going to show you a short video that will tell you more about our program, Beyond Hunger. This is narrated by Michelle Zerkowski, our CEO.
Has harnessed the power and compassion of our community to serve others. Founded in the late 1970s by a local Girl Scout troop led by Patricia Funk, we've grown to serve people living in 13 zip codes across Cook County, including Chicago's west side and near west suburbs. Beyond Hunger's food pantry now serves over 40,000 individuals each year, providing carefully selected nutritious food and needed essentials. But we don't stop with a bag of groceries. We also connect people to benefits like SNAP and Medicare savings. We offer nutrition education and cooking classes led by registered dietitians. And we provide summer meals for kids who lack them when school is out. Hunger can seem far away, but it's right here. In Oak Park alone, an estimated 7,000 people are food insecure and don't know where their next meal is coming from. But it doesn't have to be that way. Together, we can end hunger in our community. Please consider joining our team of volunteers to become a local hunger advocate. Visit gobeyondhunger.org to learn more. And thank you.
All right. So let me provide some introductions. Like I said, my name is Bree Kellogg. I'm a registered dietitian and nutrition educator coordinator for Beyond Hunger. With me today, I have Manette Burial. She is our volunteer talent and inclusion manager, and she's also our staff point person for our Client Advisory Council, which I may refer to our Client Advisory Council as CAC a bit during this presentation, so we'll use those phrases interchangeably. We also have Rodolfo Flores with us today, and Rodolfo is a founding member of our Client Advisory Council, and he is also a program participant. We also have 3 other individuals who will be joining us later in this session during our breakout rooms, and I'll introduce those individuals a little bit later. So today we're talking about Client Advisory Councils. You may be thinking to yourself, what exactly does that mean? And really, the name kind of gives it away. A CAC is a group of participants who provide our organization with vital feedback. And Manette is going to tell you more about the work our CAC does in a little bit, but I kind of wanted to tell you how this organization or how this council got started here at Beyond Hunger. So here you see a photo of 2 men in cooking aprons, and you may be thinking to yourself, well, what does this have to do with an advisory council? And the short answer is in relationships. Historically, Beyond Hunger has had a really robust nutrition education program. We are able to offer nutrition programs and cooking programs that last several weeks in length. So you can imagine when we spend all this time together in these classes, we really do form these very valuable relationships. And over time, as we had more and more classes, the staff started to take notice of some specific individuals from our programs who were really what I like to call our star students. And these individuals were just very highly motivated to take every opportunity they could to learn more. They wanted to learn more about nutrition. They wanted to learn more about cooking. And in the end, they really just wanted to learn more about our organization overall. And you may notice some of these clients in your organizations as well. Like I said, they're highly motivated individuals. They want to just keep learning, and they have a great energetic presence about them. So our staff started to take notice of these star students, and we wanted to really just capture their energy. So in 2019, we had the opportunity to do just that. Our nutrition education program wanted to bring in some new nutrition protocols into our food pantry program. And we settled on a program called SWAP, and SWAP stands for Supporting Wellness at Pantries. And like I said, this is back in 2019, so it's been about 2 years now. In researching the SWAP program, our nutrition team came to love it. We presented it to our other staff members. Our food pantry manager loved it, and we thought, hey, we're ready to go with this thing. But then we realized we were missing the viewpoint of a very important group of people, and those are the people who actually shop at our food pantry. So we knew that if we were going to bring this SWAP program in, it was going to be a big deal. It was going to change all of our nutrition protocols, and it was even going to change the layout, the physical layout of our food pantry itself. So we knew if we were going to do it, we had to do it right. So we consulted with a group of our star students or those special program participants from our nutrition classes to see what they thought about the SWAP program and how it could look in our pantry. We literally walked the aisles of our food pantry and said, could this go here? Could this go here? And got feedback. When we implemented the program, after we gathered all the feedback, the results were really fantastic. It's been over 2 years in, and our SWAP program is just soaring. So based on that feedback, I would say that was kind of the birth of our Client Advisory Council. Now I'm going to turn it over to Manette, and just like I said, bear with us just a second because we're having some audio difficulties with her laptop, but I'm going to turn it over to her. And she's going to tell you more about some of the projects that the Client Advisory Council has taken on.
Thank you so much, Bree. Yes, be patient. Sorry, we're kind of moving on to one screen here. I am the volunteer Talent and Inclusion Manager here at Beyond Hunger. And with me today we have Rudy, or Rodolfo Flores. He likes to be named as Rudy in the work that we do. And so he will give some input into some of the personal aspects of being a council member for Beyond Hunger and the work that we have done. What I would like to kind of focus in on after Bree gave a brief description of what our council has already done thus far is to really talk about the outreach that we have done to date with our council members. And there's kind of three pillars that we've really been focused on since the fall of 2019. First, I'm going to talk about the client survey. And the first one that we did in the fall of 2019 was very robust. It had a very large scope in it. We really surveyed our clients to see kind of age groups and where they're living at the time, what kind of foods they like to have, what things that we could do better. And our client advisory counselor, the CAC, was integral in doing throughout the whole process. So they not only helped with the creation of the survey, they also were boots on the ground. They actually were with our program participants at our food distributions, doing the survey, talking to them, and really creating relationships. They then helped us with the data. Once we processed all the data, we as a group, our council members, our staff, all looked at what came back with the survey. And then they actually also were involved in giving feedback to our program participants at our food distributions. In this survey, in a month's time, we were able to collect a 75% rate with the feedback that we got. We were able to create new programming, really make sure the SWAT program was going to be a hit right from the very get-go. And so it really gave us kind of a light bulb went off in our head, and we're like, we have a gold mine here. We have program participants that are willing to not only talk to our clients and really get engaged, but also they're so interested in progressing our programming forward. So with that, I wanted to bring Rudy in here, and I'm going to just tip the screen just slightly so you can see Rudy. This is Rudy, everyone. And I just wanted to have him give some feedback on how he felt the clients received the information and why the survey that we did in the fall of 2019 was so successful.
Well, thank you, Lynette. The responses from our in-person survey were very positive. We wanted to create relationships and dialogue with all of our clients. Many shared their lives experience as we were administrating the surveys. It was very important to us that the CAC interacted with the clients to create trust and connection.
Wonderful. Yes, it was so important. This first go around was kind of the first that we were really asking for the experience of our clients, of what we were doing right, what we could do better, and what they wanted to see and what their true needs were. So we were really getting the lived experience feedback that we were really wanting to grow our programming here at Beyond Hunger. As we all know, in the spring of 2020, the pandemic hit. And so with that, we also saw that a good number of our clients were missing from our distributions. We as an organization have not closed a single day throughout this whole pandemic, which we are incredibly thankful and proud of. But we noticed that a section of our clients that were long-term participants of our food distributions were not coming. And so our CAC really suggested highly that we do wellness checks, a simple call out to some of the participants that we hadn't seen that we knew needed assistance. And so we went off on a journey of doing wellness checks. We chose 100 of our participants that were regulars at our food distributions, and our CAC called. They had the numbers. They made sure that if they left a message, that they called again, and then they made sure that they actually spoke to someone. And it was really important at the time. So many of us, not only our staff and our organization, but so many people which participate in our programs, were really in a blender. We didn't know what was going on, and we really wanted to create a sense of security for our population that we do serve. What I would like to ask Rudy at this time is really kind of some of the feedback that you received, Rudy, from the community and the impact that you think that it had on our clients.
Sure, Manette. The clients were very appreciative that we reached out to them. Many were struggling with the pandemic and were surprised that someone took the time to call. Many clients called back when we left messages for them. It was a wellness check, and it was a way to let everyone know that we were continuing all of our programming. I realized that many people needed more than just food. They needed connection, and especially during this very difficult time.
So true. And we were so thankful that our CAC members were willing and able to make those connections. It took time, it took effort, not only just to be there on the call, but also emotionally. They were going through their own struggles, and yet they felt strong enough to reach out to our community members. That's another reason why we really truly feel as an organization that the CAC is so important to our progress. The last aspect that I would like to talk about today is our advocacy work. We have worked most recently with many community members and national programs, and we have been able to grow in what we are developing within our organization and what we're working with the CAC, that we feel confident in bringing our lived experiences that we have here through the CAC into public speaking. So some of the examples that we do have most recently have been working with Rush University, medical centers, community health, equity, and engagement discussions. Community discussions, they're working on a 5-year plan, and they wanted to hear our feedback, what our clients really wanted. We've also worked with Joel Berg, who is the CEO of Hunger Free America. And it was important that we really sit down and talk with him. He was wanting change within the policies that he had within the Hunger Free America. And he really enjoyed really touching base with the clients that we do serve. And lastly, we are working with our community foundation, our Oak Park Reverse Community Foundation for Racial Equity. And it's very important to know and understand the clients that we do serve and the participants that we do serve, and the voices that they can contribute to what is going on in their lives currently. And last, I want to give Rudy one more moment to just kind of give some feedback on what being a CAC member means to you, and what kind of impact you think that the CAC gives to our community.
Thank you, Manette. Really, the impact for me was so gratifying. To receive a thank you from all of our clients and from the Beyond Hunger staff, it means that it makes a difference in making a difference in contributing to our organization that has been giving me so much over the years. Our lived experiences are being heard, are past and present. Thank you.
Wonderful, Rudy. Thank you so much. It means a lot to give some feedback on what they are doing as a council for our organization and within their community. At this time, I would like to give you guys an opportunity to turn your mics off and ask any questions that you may have at this time. We will go forward as you see. This next slide is our toolkit that we're presenting to you today. But are there any questions that you have at this moment in time for our group? I think anybody? Any questions? I think you're probably all just absorbing all the information that we have. We will have another opportunity, and it's fine. Some are a little bit more shy, some just raise their hand in the chat. It's totally fine. We will have opportunities at the very end so that you can, in the breakout rooms, turn off your mics and have just kind of a more open conversation about different aspects of our council. So what I would like to present to you right now is actually our toolkit, and all of the materials that you see within the toolkit are found on the links that you were given when you signed up for the session, but they're also found on our website, and our website is gobeyondhunger.org/CAC toolkit. And we are also available through email that you can find on our website after this discussion and after everything that we give. If you have things that you have questions on later, you can definitely email us. We're free and available to help along the way for you. So our toolkit that we provided for you has kind of the things that we've used along the way in what we've kind of become known as the CAC at this moment in time. We have grown organically. So what we have here in the toolkit may not be the order that we did it in, but we really do feel that this order that we're presenting is a very seamless way to create a council, and it'll give you less hiccups along the way, at least we feel. So your hindsight 2020 will give you everything that you need first. So in our toolkit, we start with our Smarty tool, which is a goal sheet. It's a worksheet, and there's certain things that you really want to focus in on when you're looking at your goals within a council. You have a group of individuals that are ready to go and eager, and you just want to make sure that your goal sheets that you're creating have a certain kind of feel to them so that everything runs smoothly. The first thing that you do want to focus in on is to be strategic. You want to create goals that reflect an important dimension of what your organization seeks to accomplish. So if you're thinking of developing a program or starting a new program, you want to really look at what type of goal you want to have so that your data that you pull back is measurable, so that you know that you can create or you can attain that goal. And that you also want to look at how ambitious your goals are within this worksheet and make sure that they are something that is a little bit out of the box, but not so far out of the box that it's not attainable. We also want you to realize that you want to be realistic. So again, challenging, stretching out of your box just a little bit, but making sure that you are able to attain it in a time-bound manner. So what we've done along the way is created kind of some goals along our fiscal year, saying that we want to do a certain amount of surveys, and we're going to focus on these specific programs, and this is the type of data that we're going to pull from this so that we can progress our programs along. The other thing that we focus on here in Beyond Hunger is really being inclusive and equitable with everything that we do. We know that it's really important, not only for our organization, but also to have the aspect of being inclusive and equitable in everything that we do so that it then reads back to our program participants. The next slide that we have in our toolkit is our bylaws. And as I had stated before, our bylaws didn't necessarily come first, but we do feel strongly that the bylaws need to really be structured first so that you have kind of a guideline of what your council members will be anticipating through their progress. So obviously with the bylaws, you want to have a purpose so that they know kind of what they're getting in for and what you want that council to achieve. In our bylaws, we have our membership requirements plainly laid out, and something that we looked at not only with our current council members on how that they would like to onboard new members into our CAC. There's a selection process. We talk a little bit about the meetings that we will have. Currently, we have monthly meetings. Sometimes we meet a little bit more, depending on what projects we are working on. We have specific tasks that we would like the CAC to achieve through the goals that we have created. And then also feedback. And that's not only feedback as far as what we're doing within our work with the CAC, but also feedback to us specifically as staff of Beyond Hunger. Very important to make sure that we are still on target, making sure that the CAC is being heard. We also talk about expectations. And that in expectations, we talk about that the regularity of meetings, to making sure that they're being involved, making sure that they are checking in with us from time to time to make sure that everything is running smooth. And then lastly, in our bylaws, we talk about compensation. And I will get into that a little later on another slide, but compensation was important to put in the bylaws because this is something that is very serious to us. We want to make sure that our council members understand and know that their work that they do within our organization is very important. The next slide we have here is just kind of an overview of the goals that we have for this next year, so fiscal year 2022. So we will be solidifying our goals for the CAC in the near future, probably in this next month. We have a rough draft going, so we'll make sure that that's all kind of tied up with a bow, and then we'll move on from there of actually initiating 3 to 5 new council members. And that will be through a couple different ways, which I will get to in a little bit, a slide in a little bit. So we will also have another survey, a client survey in the spring. It's been a little while since we've done a survey, and we know that with how the pandemic is going and how our program is going, we need to kind of think about our next steps. And so the CAC will be an integral part in creating that survey. We will also initiate some outreach to our recently increased population that we're serving currently. Our numbers that we have had over the pandemic have changed quite a bit in the neighborhoods that we do serve. And so we want to make sure that through the work of the CAC that we continue to think about the voices in the communities that we are serving. And then lastly, we are going to assist the nutrition education program. They have some special spring programming that's coming up. And again, just like the SWAP program back in the fall of 2019, they are going to be a big part in trying to make sure that that program gets rolled out very successfully. We have on our next slide just a timeline. So it kind of reviews what we've been up to since the fall of 2019. So you'll see a number of surveys in there, and surveys that encompass different programs that we have. So it might have been food distributions, or it might have been more about what types of foods, or it might have been something that was very small that was more kind of more of touching base, like our wellness checks. And then you'll see at the bottom with the winter of 2021, we're going to be working on our recruitment of the 3 to 5 new members of our council. And here you'll see different tools that we use for our recruitment. So as Bree had mentioned, they had a captive audience with the cooking classes through the nutrition education program at our pantry. And with that, they formed a special group for the founding members of the CAC. Now we are in need of new members, fresh voices, fresh look, fresh perspective. And so what we are doing with our council to grow our council is to push it out on social media. So we have a dedicated client Facebook page, and we will have our recruitment application on there. So the link will be on there so that they can go ahead and click on that and apply. They'll see the bylaws right in that link also. We also, through our social media, push out information for our clients. So they're always kind of in the know about what our CAC is doing and what we're doing as a pantry. With our food box news, the page right in the middle there, we have a quarterly edition. And so with that, we have different things that the CAC is doing. We also have recipes from the nutrition program. And we make announcements with any of the changes that we have with our programming. So again, we're touching base with our clients. And then lastly, we always have kind of separate flyers that we have in our customer service table, and also we'll slip those into the food boxes that our clients receive. And then here you will just see a cute little slide of our application. So as I had mentioned, we had put it out on our Facebook page for our clients, but we will also have it on our website. So we have a dedicated tab just for the application process. It has our bylaws in it. So once the applications come in, then we will review it between the staff members and our council members, and we will do interviews. We will see, why they want to belong to the council, how they want to contribute to Beyond Hunger. We will also have the application printed out for our clients that prefer to actually handwrite the application. So we talked a little bit about, in the very beginning, Bree talked a little bit about choosing a name and why we use client versus another name or a program participant instead of client. We really strongly thought that our CAC needed to have a voice in choosing their name. They had been such an important group for us in a very important time in our programming and all the way through the pandemic, that we wanted to make sure that they felt kind of ownership of the group. And so they did, after a few iterations of different names and different things, and they came up with Client Advisory Council. And truly, they are such a special group. And we just think that when you are, as an organization, moving forward into making a name for your council, that you give those participants an opportunity to have a voice in how they want to be named. And then lastly, I want to talk a little bit about incentivizing. So we have the opportunity within our organization to have a small budget for our council. And we actually pay them for their time. We know that the programming that has changed since they've been around has really made a difference in what we do and how we give to our community. And so we continue to do that. We kind of do it per project, and depending on what the project is dependent on how many hours they may spend with us. But we feel it's very important to make sure that you're incentivizing their work, because it is very, very important. For me, I would like to suggest that if you don't have a budget, many organizations are small, and so you may not have money in your budgets to push towards giving them money for their work. And so I would suggest us to be creative, and I would suggest to make sure that you are thanking them, make sure that they feel that what their work that they're doing is incredibly important, and that they are moving your programming forward. And then lastly, on our last slide, here's some just additional resources for you. We've used these along the way in creating what we have as our council, and we'll continue to look towards those as we move forward. And Bree, I'm going to kind of tip our camera here back to the middle. There's Bree again. And you've heard enough about me, but what I would like to really kind of talk about is kind of some roadblocks or little bumps that we've had along the way and lessons learned. And one for me in particular is to really let the council members guide the process. We were very excited in the very beginning to know that we had our program participants really eager to work and really want to make change. But we kind of moved a little quick, and it got a little unorganized. And so we really soon found out that if they guided the process along, it made it so much better and so much more impactful, not only for our clients, but also for our programming. Bree, do you have something that you would like to talk about?
Yeah, so you've heard us say a couple times during this session today that for us, for our organization, the CAC developed organically, and that's just what worked for us. But if I had to give one piece of advice, it would be to create a framework or a structure before you start bringing in advisory council members. And I think using our toolkit that we provided today is going to be a really good resource for you all as you go in to your organizations and start to think of ways to build your advisory councils as well. Yeah.
Yeah, just one last thing that I wanted to add, and this kind of goes into the process that I had into creating our talk today is really keeping the council engaged through the whole process. In doing this summit in review of our council and the work that we've done since the fall of 2019, I realized that some of the engagement wasn't as clear as it should have been and as as it should have been. And so what I would just kind of give you some words of advice is to make sure that you are engaging your council throughout the whole process, that you do check-ins, that you sometimes just a call and say, hey, how you doing, is important to them. They want to know that what they're doing is making a difference, and they want to know that they can be called on for different aspects of your programming going forward. So I'm going to have Bree kind of take the camera over, and she's going to talk about our future growth.
Thanks, Manette. We think the future of our CAC is really bright here at Beyond Hunger. And some of the ways that we're excited to get our CAC members involved in the future are listed here under future growth. First, under public policy, you heard Manette say that our CAC has already worked with people like U.S. representatives, healthcare, and other community partners to have their voices heard. And we don't think that this is going to stop anytime soon. We will keep having our Client Advisory Council be a voice for our community's needs. The next point is our Community Health Ambassador Program. This is another nutrition education program, and we want to launch this in spring of 2022. And just like that SWAP program that I talked about in the beginning, we're going to need our CAC members to evaluate this program. So when we bring it to our client base, it is ready to go on day one, and all the kinks are worked out. So they're going to be reviewing that program for us as well. And then, like all of you, we are kind of starting to think about post-pandemic protocols and introducing what the new normal is for us here at Beyond Hunger. And we're going to have our CAC involved throughout that process as well, and helping our clients understand what's going to happen when they can come back in person again and start to be involved in our program with our programs in person. And lastly, reviewing of operational practices. This is something that our CAC has done with us since the very beginning, and we don't see that stopping anytime soon. They're reviewing our programs consistently, providing us with valuable feedback so we can continually make improvements to benefit the communities that we serve. Now we're going to move to our next slide, and this is going to be how I'm going to describe to you how our breakout sessions are going to work.
All right, well, we will hopefully see folks starting to rejoin. Do you have closing comments before we log off?
No, we just wanted to thank everyone for choosing this session, and we hope that you all learned what you came to learn. Our information for our contact is in our bios, and you can reach out to me, Manette, anyone from our organization, or any of our CAC representatives. We'll be glad to get back to you.
Excellent, thank you so much. Well, we have our closing session up next. You won't want to miss it. So when you leave this room, you can click on the red phone icon. That will get you out of the room, and then you'll want to click on the main stage to join the closing session. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you all for joining us.